What's good everyone, Shurit here. So, NEKROZ stun deck profile. Before we get into this, there is one thing I want to highlight. So, after reading a lot of the comments, because I read every single comment because I'm like super weird. I don't get that many comments though, so it's not too bad. I do heart all your comments though, which is a bit weird. Anyways, before I go off on a random tangent about comments, basically what people are thinking is that I've changed my normal NEKROZ build into this stun variant. And that's where you guys are getting it wrong a bit. Some people obviously understand this, some people don't. All I've done is I've taken NEKROZ and I made a different version of it. To be honest, I still prefer for fun playing my normal NEKROZ variant, which has like the Valks in there, just ritual summon, the Senjus and everything in there. But when it comes to this version, I was thinking a lot of people don't really know how to play NEKROZ. So many people have asked for a NEKROZ tutorial, which I will upload possibly Sunday, maybe Saturday if I feel like it, because on Saturday I'm going to bring you the live duel commentary with NEKROZ stun. So I don't know whether or not I want to upload 2 videos on that day. But for today it's going to be the deck profile, and what you guys have to understand is I prefer the other variant. This one can be considered more competitive, it's debatable of course. This version, you're still doing your NEKROZ plays. It's not just like, okay, I'm going to summon Barrier Statue and win. It's not a Barrier Statue stun deck. It's a NEKROZ deck with a lower NEKROZ engine, with less NEKROZ cards in it, that uses more traps and a more kind of stunny version of it in order to compete with the meta, in order to allow people who don't know how to play NEKROZ, because it's a complex deck, to be able to play it. But of course, if you want to play the more complex version, then of course you can watch my tutorial, which will come out soon, because I'm going to go in depth on how to play NEKROZ 2017 with all the different combos and all the different card interactions. So I think I've gone off on one enough. I think I should show you this long awaited deck profile. Well, 1 day awaited deck profile, should we put it like that? So here it is. Another thing I want to say before we quickly now, before we get into it, is that the version I showed you on the replays was actually like kind of the beta version, the testing version. This is the proper version, the consistent version, the version that doesn't break with Reaper in the main deck. Reaper in the main deck can be horrible sometimes. In this deck it's horrible. For siding it's fine, but in other decks you can main deck it, like in my Phantasm Spiral Dino Rabbit deck. Main decking it is really good. So let's start off this deck profile then. So we got 3 copies of Manju. Now, we don't play the Senju, we only play the Manju because we've got our other normal summons being Barrier Statue of the Torrent. Now, you guys are probably thinking, well, I'm sure you could just have 9 normal summons. That's not good at all, because a lot of the time I'll draw Manju and Barrier Statue. So what I think is, I'd rather summon Barrier Statue, but I need the search of Manju, and it's just like, what the hell should I do? So all that I tried to do is that I decided to cut the Senju and play the Barrier Statues instead. Plus, a lot of the time, as I said, Manju and Barrier Statue will be in your hand. You'll rather summon Barrier Statue, and that's why I play a few other cards that I'll explain later on. So let's get past these. So Manju, Barrier Statue. Barrier Statue, another good thing about this is it's kind of like a mini Jinlock. It's not half as good as the Jinlock, let's put it like that, but it allows you to still special summon your NEKROZ monsters, but your opponent can't special summon, unless they play Mermail, which is unfortunate. But Mermail, I haven't seen much of it recently. It's basically Spirals and Pendulum Magicians. Next up, we got 1 Trishula, 1 Valk, 1 Gungi. Trishula's obviously for your power play, Valk and Gungi for protection. You don't need 3 of this because you're not going to be ritual summoning it. It's just for the protection. 1 Brio because you need it to get into to do your Trish play. 1 Unicorn because the whole deck literally revolves around it. You need to do your Unicorn play to put it with Barrier Statue, because a good end turn will probably be Unicorn, Barrier Statue, Trishula, and 1 back row face down. So that's pretty good. Next up, 3 copies of Colossus. Now, I play 3 copies of this card, mainly because, as I said before, if I have Barrier Statue and Manju in hand, I don't want to normal summon the Manju a lot of the time. So what I'll do is play more Colossus just to make sure I always have access to my Unicorn and Kaleidoscope, sometimes without using Manju. So if you can manage to use Unicorn and Kaleidoscope and normal summon Barrier Statue in the same turn, that's really strong. And then that means you can't normal summon the Manju because you use your normal summon on the Barrier Statue. Therefore, I play the Colossus in order to get to the ritual spells as quickly as possible without using Manju sometimes. Next up, 3 Ash. She's kind of like the Zodiac Crisis, where if you weren't playing Zodiac, you couldn't compete. It's kind of true with Ash, not as much, but with Ash, like, it's such a strong card against Spirals, against Pendulum Magicians, against even Blue Eyes, you know, with a Melody and everything. So this card is really good. You kind of have to play it. You could not play it and risk it, but if you're trying to play competitive and trying to win, you do really need this card. Like, it's such a good card right now. It stops so much. Everybody's playing it. If your opponent's playing Ash and you're not playing Ash, you're at a huge disadvantage. Next up, the board wipes. I don't know how I feel about these, to be honest. People say they're good against spirals. I know they're good against spirals. I've used them against spirals. But sometimes they can break your hand. Sometimes you don't need them. So you could cut them and maybe put the Cosmic Cyclones in the main deck, I suppose, even though like you're playing back row yourself, so it's a bit weird. And you have got this card to get rid of back row, so you don't really need Cosmics. Or maybe main deck a Gamma Seal or more, maybe D-Barriers if you want. But I still like them because it just like gives you extra cards to get rid of your opponent's spiral monsters. Next up, we play 2 copies of Preparation of Rites. Now, this card's amazing because this card, once again, allows you to not have to normal summon Manju. It doesn't make you rely off Manju. Plus, because you're playing less ritual spells, getting back them ritual spells from the graveyard allows this deck to have really good recovery without having to banish so much stuff from the graveyard to search out more spells. Because with the thing with NEKROZ is normally you'll play 6 ritual spells, I'm playing 3. So banishing them from the graveyard with their secondary effect isn't the best idea in the world. So then obviously 2 Kaleidoscope, 1 Mirror. You could risk it and play 1 Kaleidoscope. I don't want to do that because, as I said, I don't want to have to keep on normal summoning Manju. I want to leave room to normal summon my Barrier Statue. And then Free Moon Mirror Shield. This is a lot of the time to equip to Unicorn or Barrier Statue. Yeah, Barrier Statue is fairly weak against Spiral Monsters, so equipping it with a Moon Mirror Shield is really good. Obviously, Moon Mirror Shield will go to the top or bottom of your deck if it's destroyed, so you could easily get it back if they just MST it and then can't run over your Unicorn or your Barrier Statue with the Torrent. You'll just end up, well, not MST, maybe Twin Twister or something, because not many people play Mystical Space Typhoon. But it's just an overall very good card. I play 3 copies just to get to it quicker because we don't have much draw power. We have pretty good search power with the Brio and the Manju and the Prep, but we don't have draw power, so I wanted to play 3. You could cut it down to 2. When I cut it down to 2, I didn't see it as much as I wanted, so I kept it at 3, and so far it's doing pretty well. You'll see how good this deck is, of course, in the live duel commentary, which should be coming out either tomorrow or the next day. Next up, I don't know what's going on with my voice right now. I was talking quite a bit all day, actually. So 3 copies of Evenly Matched or Struggling Battle in the OCG. This card's so good. Against you, it's a pain. Oh, God. The biggest, the biggest weakness to this deck is probably Evenly Matched, because if they blow out so many of your background, your barrier statues, and you don't have maybe protection or something, actually you can't really have protection against banishing, or if you've established a board going first and they use this card on you, it's devastating. It's kind of just like, it's amazing for the deck and it's horrible against the deck, so it's kind of just like you have such a big love-hate relationship with it. Like, you can't play back row, only I can play back row, but then the other guy's like, I can play back row, but you can't play back row. So it's kind of like this circle going round and round where Evenly Matched to back row and back row evenly matched. It's just really funny. Next up, free Storming. This is to protect Barrier Statue, of course. Storming is much better than Quaking in this deck, because although putting Spiral Monsters back into the hand isn't necessarily the best thing, putting them in face down defense mode isn't the best. Plus double Helix obviously is a link monster, so you can't put that in face down defense mode. Putting them in face down defense is bad because you don't summon many monsters, so it's going to be hard to run over their monsters. Next up, being Total Savage and main decking 3 copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance. Against Pendulums, they're good against Spiral to stop their machine duplications. Obviously just an overall very good card, helps you go first. Ash is kind of for second. Cards like Anti-Spell, Solemn Strike are for, and Storming are for first, and then Evenly Matched as well can be used whenever really. Most of the time you want to use it on your first turn though, to blow out your opponent's resources. And then to round it all off, Strike, One Warning. Strike's a really funny card today because if you haven't watched my Team Samurai giveaway opening thing, then please watch it because Strike popped up, let's put it like that. Next up we got for the extra deck, a lot of these are Cherries targets which I got here because you don't use the extra deck too much. I only got like the generic rank 4s maybe for the extra deck, and the rest is Cherries targets and obviously Arclight. So Mechaba, Cherries target, ABC Dragon, Buster, FG. I know you're annoyed every time your Buster gets Reapered, but that's life, mate. You gotta play them Pot of Acquisitiveness, I guess, if you're an ABC player. Shooting Quasar Dragon because you could possibly summon Valk and Unicorn or Trishula and Colossus. It came up once or twice, not too much. Gunga, Dragon of the Ice Barrier, because sometimes when you have Barrier Statue on the field, I want to tune it with Ash, and the only level 7 water monster good one is Gunga, so I thought, okay, I'll play this. Sometimes it has came up once. Herald, you really need this card. It opens up so many plays. You need the Unicorn play, which is essential. Universal Problem Solvers with Utopia and Utopia the Lightning. Star Time for Cherries target, number 41, your alcoholic dad. Oh my god, whoever's got that name that a username on YouTube is just hilarious. You've commented on my videos a few times. Best username I've ever heard. A Tornado Dragon, Castell, Abyss Dweller. This is good because it can power up Barrier Statue. Toad for cherries, Firewall for cherries, and obviously Double Helix, the broken card for cherries. Quickly going over the extra deck, we have 3 copies of Gamma Seal, 3 copies of Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. Gamma Seal is good against Masterpiece, of course. Reaper for everything that we put in the side deck. Basically, Reaper can combat like literally everything because I've got so much room in the extra deck. 3 Cosmics in case you're just not getting enough back row removal or you're playing against Paleo and evenly matched isn't enough. 3 copies of Barrier if your opponent's playing, I don't know, maybe that is kind of good against Pendulum Magicians. Barrier is good against maybe like Cyber Inge or Herald and some other decks that have been popping up recently. And 3 copies of Drowning Mirror Force, because sometimes you'll have an empty field after your opponent blows you out. So if they're playing a deck like Blue Eyes or something, you need to get rid of them Chaos Maxes or them high power monsters that keep on beating you down, because considering your strongest monster is a 2700 beat stick, which is Trish, Drowning Mirror Force is a really good card that can just completely destroy your opponent's resources. So guys, thank you guys for watching, thank you guys for watching. God, not the best choice of words there, but no, I haven't gone to the dark side and turned into Dark Onizuka. Like, if you watch Range, you'll get that reference. I've not gone from Go Onizuka to Dark Onizuka. I'm not Shurit, Cancer of the NEKROZ, Dark Shurit, Cancer of the NEKROZ. I'm just deciding to play the deck a little bit differently. I've still got my other variant up, still got it around. I still play it quite a bit. I'll probably find it for you here. Like, you've seen it in my NEKROZ live duel commentary, I think, but yeah, this is just the normal variant that I play with the win riches and stuff. This is the fun variant, but the other one is obviously more kind of competitive, debatably, and it does allow players who don't know how to play NEKROZ properly or are learning how to play NEKROZ to get a start with it and learn some of the basic combos with Unicorn, Herald, and then off Herald you search Brio, go into your Trish play. Fairly simple. So thank you guys for watching. Like I said before, I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. This has been Shurit. Peace.
사사게요 사사게요 신도 사사